Hello everybody and welcome back to the next episode of Cities Skylines with me, Biffa, and today I am going to show you how to use 4 different tools that are available on the Steam Workshop to make your road junctions and intersections look even better. We're going to be starting off with the node controller renewal mod, which has only just been released and updated. It has some fantastic new tools and abilities built into it. We're going to be using the traffic manager mod as well, also the move it mod and the intersection marking tool mod as well. So if you want links to any of these, then be sure to check out my collection in the description below. And this is what we're going to be using. Here we are in New Zealand. Regular viewers of mine will recognize this city that we've been building together on this lovely island map. But we are going to be working on this junction down here. Let's see if we can get some light on the matter. There we go. Fantastic. Now we can see what we're doing. So this is, as you can see, a fully functional working highway interchange. No problems at all. I am using traffic manager down here. We have despawning turned off. Just very quickly to mention, in the vanilla game on the console, traffic will despawn if it gets too busy, but I like to turn that off to make things harder. So as you can see, this junction is working okay. But there's a few little funny little things that are set up here that I want to look at that we're going to adjust to make it look even better. So let us start with this little section here, and we are going to start with the new node controller mod. Now, Kian Zarin has been working on node controller for a long time. He's handed that over to McSurgy. So if you click on node controller, I've got the unified UI mod, which puts all of these in the nice little drop down box. We haven't got all these dotted around all over the place. So click on there. Now it says select node, and we're going to select this node. But before I do, have a look at these trucks coming down here. They need to turn off there. Look how sharp that turn is. Very, very sharp. There we go. To slow right down to come up there. And also, we don't have any dedicated lanes. So first of all, before we jump into node controller, I'm going to upgrade this one here with the normal standard highway. And as you can see, all of these with a little blue square on are available in the Mass Transit DLC. We're going to be making use of those. So we're going to upgrade this one here. I am also going to use the Anarchy mod. Again, that is in my collection below. There we go. So now we have a dedicated lane for turning off. So that's one good thing. So everybody else going straight on doesn't have to slow down. There we go. Now we're going to select node controller and select this node. You notice it goes orange. Excellent. So now we get some interesting information on here. We can start fiddling around with some of these. Now we can grab the middle of the circle and move that backwards and forwards. Now that used to be, let's just reset that to default, an offset. So we can change that with our mouse if we want, and that will adjust. I'm using my scroll wheel, and you can see the options on the screen for your different amounts of scroll. That will change the whole node if we want. We can individually do them. There we go. And you can see the colors, very simple. Red to red, blue to blue, green to green, and everything in this column affects this green segment over here. This offset, and that for the blue and that for the red. And this one is all. So if you want to change all of them, you can do it there. So first of all, what I like to do with a section like this, I'm going to reset it to default, so there we go, is select sloped. I don't think this one is going to be affected too much. Yeah, just sort of slope that out a bit, because what you'll normally find is a node will always be flat. So you'll have a nice slope coming in from the right, it will then go flat, and then it will slope again. I want the whole thing to be sloped all the way through. So I'll click sloped. Then quite often I'll click this one here, make ends straight, and that will take each of these lines across here. Let's see if it adjusts them. Let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, ever so slightly, adjust that one there. So that's not quite as hard a turn, but that's definitely lined that up, and already you can see they're moving a lot quicker just by adding that extra lane and straightening that out. And then what I'd like to do is just to make this whole node much bigger. So I am going to scroll with this here, and then I'm going to move that one back like that to about there. I reckon that is quite good. Excellent. We'll go with that. Now also, if we just have a look down here and have a look at our lanes, you can see here our lanes aren't quite lining up. So this one's going off to the right, which is fine. These two don't quite line up. And they're not, I mean, it's not too bad on this example, but we can adjust that to make it even better. So if we select this node, if we hold shift to align road, so I'm going to hold shift, select that one there, and I want to align with that corner there, and just watch what it does. Ever so slightly, shiftifies it all over a little bit, just enough to line these all up. So anybody coming down here to go straight on can literally drive straight through that node, which is fantastic. So that to me looks a lot better. We can compare it with this one here. So that is sort of the opposite, and we can see how close and how small that node is, where all this traffic's trying to merge into each other. And then we can compare it to this one here. A lot bigger, a lot more space. Yeah, I am liking that a lot. So now we need to try and make this look a bit nicer. So that takes us on to our second mod, which is the intersection marking tool. Okay, so I'm going to select the intersection marking tool icon at the top here. And again, you need to select a node to work on. And here we go. We get this box that pops up. Not as scary as it looks. We can just run through a few of the items on here. So basically what I'm working on is trying to get these lines looking like they should be painted in. You wouldn't come across unpainted sections like this, generally speaking. So there's different options. So I can move that from there to there just with left clicks, and then I can change that to whatever I want. I've got all of these options here. We are going to go for a solid line. I can have that automatically be solid. If I left click there, now hold shift and connect it there, it's automatically made that solid. I'm then going to also do a solid line there, and I'm also going to do a solid line there because this section is going to be filled in. Along here, this needs to be a dotted line, so I'm just going to move that from there to there. And I think in this case, the dashed, I should say, the dashes are the right length apart. That all looks okay, but you can change the width, as you can see there, of the lines just by using the scroll wheel. You can change the length. There we go. You can change the space length. You can fiddle with that as you like. You can change the color as well if you so desire. And yeah, that's looking good for now. Now, a little thing that I noticed some people don't always know. You can see these lines don't line up. If I hold control, you can see in the little pop-up by my cursor, hold control and then select that. You can then move that up and down. And what I find helps is because moving it up and down, unless you're really good with your hands and your mouse, a bit harder to get it to select. I tend to sort of move it further away, and then, yeah, it's a bit easier to sort of get the finer movements. There we go. And I just sort of line those up just a teeny touch. So what I'm doing, instead of going up and down, I'm sort of moving left and right instead, just to get that micro movement I want, just to get that lined up. That's looking a lot better. Right, now, normally what would be in here, you'd have sort of filler in here. So now if you hold Alt on your keyboard, they go to these little tiny red dots. So I'm going to start here and click to start creating a filler. So I'm going to left click while I'm still holding Alt. There, and there. That adds a filler, and you've got these choices. You've got stripes, you've got grids, you've got a solid. Again, you can change the color. You've got chevrons, you've got pavement, and you've got grass. I want that to be a chevron. Now, what you'll notice is the chevron has not lined up. It's all looking a bit weird. So if we press the turn button, there we go. That is now, I'll invert it. That is the way I want it. So as you're driving down this road here, the chevron starts small and then they start widening out. So you know that you need to move off to go down that lane that splits off the highway. Excellent. So let's just grab that again. Very good. So that is looking rather nice. I think I'm just going to leave that like it is. I'm very pleased with that. Now, what you can do is you can copy that. So we can copy all of the markings that we put into here like this. We're just going to do a copy, or we could save it as a preset. So I'm going to copy it in this example, and then we are going to come all the way over here. So this is the opposite of that junction, pretty much, isn't it? So let's select that node. So I right click to deselect the last node. I'm going to left click to select this node. And now the paste option is available. So we're going to paste that in there. And of course it's back to front. So we can turn it. So let's turn that around. And let's turn it around again. And let's turn it around again. Yeah, it's not quite lining up because we can't see the space that we've got in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say don't apply. I'm first of all going to get my node controller. And just to give us a bit of space to work with, I'm just going to make that to 21 without any other changes to it. Now I can still go back to the intersection marking tool and it's still got that buffer of 1 because I've copy and pasted it. I can paste that in there. Now we can see what's going on. So how about let's have a look, inverse the order. There we go. So now that is the way it should be. We can say, yeah, we can apply that. That's fine. And now we can tweak it if we want. So we're going to have to line up the things again. We're going to have to change the look of the filler in here. But apart from that, that has made it really, really quick. Now, what I normally do with my fillers, as we can see on this one, I have the points pointing towards where you're coming in and then it opens out like that. Obviously, this is going in the opposite direction. So what I tend to do with these ones, if we go to our filler, there we go, we hover over it, that tells us where our filler is. I would change this one to... Actually, we could do chevron and we could just invert it like that. Yeah, I think that looks okay. Excellent. Now, there's one little thing there you might have noticed. That truck came and he drove straight across our chevron. Now, look, they're going to do it as well because our lanes are not lined up correctly. That is one thing that I neglected to do. So let's see if we can fix this almost deliberate problem that I did, because over here we have lane mathematics. We've got 3 lanes, 1 goes off, goes down to 2. Over here, we've got 2 lanes plus 1 going into 2. So it's not quite lining up. So there's a couple of things you could do. You could just add a line onto there and say, okay, these 2 have got to merge into 1 and leave it like that. You might sometimes get that on a highway. Not the best. So let's upgrade this road over here and I'll show you what happens. So we've got anarchy still on. You can see my chirper comes and goes. If it goes, that means anarchy is on. And I'm going to upgrade that road there to 3 lanes. So we've got 2 plus 1 into 3. That would work okay. But we've lost our markings because we've changed the road. Well, what we can do now is go back into intersection marking tool. Roads have changed. You want to apply the markings manually. Yes. And there we go. It has automatically popped them in for us, but it hasn't quite lined them up. But if we do, is there a way? Yeah, if we click on this little red dot here, there we go. We can now move these to where they should be. So we're going to move that up there, move that up there, move that up there. What's going on here? Oh, yeah, we've got an extra line. Okay, that's fine. So that's near enough. That's good. And then we're going to tick and apply that. There we go. Excellent. And then one of these lines I'm going to change. So I want to find this one here, which is, if I hover over there, that first one. We are going to delete that. Yep, because I want that to go there. There we go. Excellent. So that has now pretty much lined it all up exactly as I want. But then, yeah, like we said, we had some people trying to cut across the lanes, which you're going to see here. So that is where another tool comes in. So let's come out of that one. We can use the traffic manager and we're going to use lane connector. Again, I'm going to select this node here. And if you just look down here, you've got Control S, a nice quick shortcut, or Hugo there, as regular viewers would call it. And Control S on there will now make people stay. Don't worry if this blue line goes around like that. They are going to stay in their lane. That's going to make everybody stay in their lane through that node. There we go. And then not cut through until they get further on. So, you know, a visual thing, a nice sort of fix there. But that is not looking too bad. And then I might just go back to my node controller. I'm going to slope that. I'm going to line that up, square some things off. I am possibly just going to move some of these things back a little bit. And then I also want to line up these corners. So we're going to hold shift, get that one there and that one there. There we go. Look at that. Straightened it all out. And we can do that all the way along. I'm going to do that. Hold shift. Actually, we need to go the other way. It is a corner. So I tell you what, I'm not going to do that all the way along. Yeah, so I think that looks okay. There we go. So we've got that one done. We've got that one done. So the difference now between that and something like this is huge, isn't it? It's huge, and it makes all the difference. Now, with a junction that's as busy as this, which, let's be honest, isn't too busy, you don't necessarily need to have this extra lane for coming off, as we've got here. you can use another tool in Traffic Manager, this one here. It says clear traffic, but that's not what it does. There we go, lane arrows. And you can, as you can see below, control left click, and it will change this to a dedicated lane. So you can do that. So they'll change at this node here if they want to come off, and they'll go down there. That also helps as well. If you want to leave it like it was before, just select on the segment. There we go. They can go straight on and come off right. As we said, it's not too busy, but as traffic got worse, you might want to change that. But definitely where it comes on, I would recommend doing something like this so you've got extra lanes. Now, we've got this little join here from 3 lanes to 2 lanes, the same as we've got over here from 2 lanes to 3 lanes. Let's fix these up. So first of all, we're going to use the Move It mod. I press M. There we go. Look, we can select our nodes. This node here is a little bit too close to there, so I'm going to hold that. I'm going to hold Alt, which should turn on toggling, although it doesn't seem to do it sometimes. I shall do that myself. I'm going to just move that along, move it along, just so this little lane for coming off is slightly bigger. There we go. So we've got a bit more space there, which is what we need. Nice. Now we want this to look a bit better, so we're going to grab our node controller. And I want to make that a bit bigger. It's got it as a middle. I want to stretch that. No, that's not what we want to do. And then once we've selected that node, we want to change this to, I think it's custom. There we go. So we get a little bit more space. Again, I'm going to, yeah, it was already selected to slope. I'm going to do this one here, make end straight. Yeah, there we go. And then I'm going to do the offset of the whole thing just to give us a little bit more space to work with. There we go. Then I'll right click out of that and that can stay there. Fantastic. So now we want to do our intersection marking tool. And as you know, we can click that, hold shift, go there to get a straight line. I'll do that there. And then how would this normally work on a highway? Well, you'd have, say, this lane would go on and that lane would go on, and then that would be an extra lane that they could go through like that. So that's working okay. We can line these up a little bit. Let's do that. But it's still looking a bit small, still looking a bit cramped. So let's go back into our node controller, and we're just going to give these guys a little bit more space like that. And I might even just tweak that a tiny bit. There we go. So that's starting to look a lot better. We've still got this odd thing where these lanes going down aren't straight. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to hold shift, select that one and select that one. There we go. So it's just going to budge it down a little bit. And how does that look? I mean, you can tweak these things to your heart's content, but I think that is much better than it looked before. Fantastic. So now we have our transition from 2 roads to 3 roads sorted with the intersection marking tool. We can copy that and move it somewhere else, but instead of copying, which just holds whatever the last thing was you copied in the memory, we're going to make a preset. So we're going to tick this button here. We're going to save a little picture of that preset, and we're going to call that preset 2 to 3. It's going to work for 3 to 2 as well, but I'll remember that. So there we go. You can call that, of course, whatever you want. Then we'll come all the way down here to this area we were working on before, and we've got the opposite. We've got 3 going into 2. So let's give ourselves some room to work with. We'll use the node controller first. We're going to change this one from a middle to a custom. There we go. And then in the all column by offset, I'm going to scroll and I'm going to take that up to say 20. Slope is already selected. I'm going to click make end straight. Didn't need to make any changes. That's fine. So right click will save that. Intersection marking tool, select on here. Go to our presets. We've got 2 to 3. I'm going to tick it. And it's the opposite way round. So inverse order. And there we go. That is pretty much it. You can either tick apply or you can right click and it will automatically save it. So now the 2 lanes going down the highway carry straight on. The 1 lane coming over here that merges has to merge into those 2 lanes, which is good. You are going to get some crossing over like that. If that bothers you, do you remember what to do? Yep. Go to Traffic Manager, Lane Collector, Control S, and that has done it a little bit odd here. Yeah, let's change that. I'm going to change that. So we're going to go from that one to that one, not that one. There we go. So that one carries on, those 2 merging. I mean, you can do it either way. It's Totally up to you. You don't even have to do that bit. Just watch when you do these lane connectors. Some people do these everywhere. I know doing it here and here isn't going to be a problem because we've got plenty of nodes afterwards where they can change lanes. But if you've got junctions too close together, you could be causing yourselves problems. So just keep that in mind. But I've lined that up so it looks correct with the lines that we've got. And there we go. When they get to the end, they'll merge in nicely. And I think that looks okay. I don't think we need to do much more adjustment there. I'm really pleased with that. So with all of that information at hand, we can now dive in and change all the other nodes that are on this intersection and see what a difference it makes. So I think that's time for a time lapse. So there we go. I think that's really increased the realistic look of this highway. I'm very pleased with the way it's turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you're new. Be back here for some more episodes building and expanding in our city here of New Zealand. Have a fantastic day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.